Hello, everyone. My name is James Strong. This is August 15th. This is the SIG networking subproject Ingress NGINX. Means we are a CNCF project. It also means we adhere to the CNCF Code of Conduct. If you have any issues, please report those to myself or the SIG networking leads. With that, we can go ahead and get started today. So we've got some fun news. I'm going to jump around a little bit today and then fun news on open topics. Ingress NGINX, our maintainer talks, securing Ingress NGINX's future. We will be talking about a lot of the security focused things that we have been doing lately. I know a lot of you are aware of the security issues that we've had in the past. We've been working with SIG Security and SIG-Network around what we need to do to help reduce those CVEs in the future and just make things better for you all from a security perspective. So as always, expect probably some breaking changes in some future releases. And as we work through those, right, we'll release a feature with it turned off. And then we will, in the next subsequent release, probably enable that feature so that we have what we're like to call a secure by default Ingress NGINX. So that's a little bit of a preamble into our maintainer talk. And with that, I'm gonna go ahead and we'll jump back up. We've got a new member today with us. So you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm John Carl. I mostly have interface with Ingress NGINX from working at Okta, and we use Ingress NGINX super heavily. So really excited to kind of jump in and go both ways, help where I can, but also like keep things on the radar as they come down for changes we might need to be aware of.
Yeah, that's it's my favorite thing to do at talks when we do the maintainer talk is just ask who reads the release notes, and nobody really raises their hand. But we'll have to make sure that folks read the release notes because we're planning on some breaking changes from a security perspective. So we'll see how it goes and how many people we upset. Hopefully, we don't break anything too serious. We're getting much better at the releases, and more folks are being able to do the release, so that's helpful. It's not 100% on me. Ricardo, I don't think has done a release in a while, but anyway, I like to ramble. Um, so we canceled last time, so we don't have any action items from the first. No one was available. And it looks like a lot of the action items are mine, and we will. Uh, I think this one was the one we talking about. Where a lot of the meetings that we've been having with SIG-Network and SIG Security are around what that's going to look like and the conversation we've had in the past around features, bugs, and security issues. This is a from a core maintainer's perspective, we're going to be focusing mostly on security and bug fixes, features as they come. So this is going to be important to you, John. It's the conversation we had about a month ago. We're going to try to limit new features, at least from a core maintainer's perspective. So we don't want to be with all the changes like Ricardo's making to the NGINX conf we talked about before we started the meeting, that introduce changes to the things that we're trying to change to try to simplify things. We're going to put a pause on that. So I think that rolls really nicely into your open topic about what you wanted to discuss. So let's go ahead and let's pull this up and let's talk a little bit about this issue. That's the Slack URL, not the do you have the issue number?
Oh, yeah, 1 second.
There it is, 384.
3844.
3844. Yeah, that just opened Slack. It got closed.
Yeah,
Did it
so
just auto close? Yeah.
yeah, well, and I think in this one, it was kind of like, hey, you can just do the metrics per host set to false. Then you get all the metrics, but you don't have a host tagged on each metric.
Okay.
Um, and in our case, we would like to be able to see granularly, like, we support literally thousands of host names via wildcards. And so we'd like to say like, hey, um, X host is like, how much traffic have they been using? Let's filter it by status code, stuff like that. And it's not possible today because either you turn metrics by host to false and then you get everything, or you set it to true and you don't get almost any metrics.
It's like somebody else was trying to do this a while ago as well, or at least asking about it.
Yeah, I found a couple different issues and they all kind of link to each other, connect to each other.
Yeah.
I looked through the code and I was like, okay, what's the best way to do
So,
this?
okay. So you're trying to do allow metrics for undefined host. So you're just trying to capture the host when it comes in.
Yeah, so today, like when a metrics, so there's the one metrics that just scrapes like the status endpoint in Nginx. That gives us in general, like, hey, you just handled X requests, but that's just, there's no host tag per metric or anything like that. And there is a more granular one that has like status codes and stuff like that. But when you encounter a host that hasn't been defined in an Ingress object, by default, it just won't even send the metric anywhere. It just drops it. So we'll never get to see like, hey, a request came in, it gave us a 200 for, johncarl.com. Oh no, we won't see that because that host wasn't defined on an Ingress object.
So it probably just went to the default one, right? The default backend.
Yeah.
Okay. And we don't track metrics on the default backend.
So we do, but we discard them.
Oh, okay.
Because so like we just have a wildcard on that Ingress object.
Okay.
And the code says, hey, johncarl.com came in. I don't have an Ingress host, johncarl.com, so I'm not going to send that metric anywhere. I'm just going to drop it.
Yeah. That sounds weird to me that we would just drop a metric for a host that came through.
James,
I can
go ahead, Long.
James, what he's he's going to define an ingress with a wildcard star.johncarl.com, right?
Yeah.
And then if he sends a request to dev.johncarl.com,
it gets dropped.
It gets dropped because
it's not explicitly as a host. I wonder. I don't have any background on why we did it that way, but to me, that sounds like a bug. Like, we have wildcards. People use wildcards, wildcard certs, or wild. I think we should fix that bug and just track that metric for an unknown host.
No, for somebody, it has a potential to blow out of proportion in terms of performance and so on. So while it can be an opt-in feature, and the user who opts in can manage the resources and so on.
Okay.
Just leaving it alone.
So you're saying leave it as a default to be false for this undefined host, and only if you want it to be true, with the understanding that it's going to blow up your metrics.
That's what John is proposing, that he'll first change the code so that there's a flag in the metrics which says enable metrics by host, and that is off by default. So people can enable that by default. So once that flag is set to true, then the metrics will start coming in. But then John is proposing that he'll do more instrumentation, that it will also tag and label those requests.
Yeah.
Instead of the current code tagging and labeling those requests for metrics, because the actual Ingress has just a star there, his new code will tag it instead of the current code tagging.
Okay. Yeah. No, that makes sense, because sometimes folks aren't going to want that. Yeah. I mean, I don't see what's the concern for that. I mean, yeah, obviously it's going to blow up your metrics, but if that's what you need and that's what you want, especially because I know like a lot of folks are using this for multi-tenant and using it for a lot of domains. So I'm surprised that this hasn't been brought up sooner, because this was 2019. No one's had
Yeah,
this
and
discussion.
the way I want to propose it is like it's a flag that by default is false. So
Yeah.
as it's introduced, it's not going to change anything for anybody. It should be, hey, only when you explicitly go in and say, hey, I'm setting this, it would say, okay, awesome. That means we're now going to do this.
Yeah. I'm just looking real quick too. The only other thing I would think of is just, we've got a metric. We do have a metrics end to end. That just checks to see if the metrics are exported. Because always when we add a new flag, we want to make sure that that flag gets tested. But that's weird that there's only two tests in our end to end for metrics. Oh, yeah, one. That's weird. That's the only other thing I would say. I guess because it's not an actual metric and it's a flag, I would just say make sure you create an end-to-end test, because otherwise we'll ask for that when you put in the PR.
Okay.
The only other thing I would say is like maybe metrics per undefined host. That's probably all it, but that's that's
Okay.
bike
So just
shedding.
change it to be metrics per undefined host instead of.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I was kind of like,
Um,
it's kind of a wordy
yeah.
flag.
Yeah, we've got a lot of flags too. Okay. Yeah, no issue for me, and it's unfortunate that it's taken someone 5 years to actually step up and try to do it. But okay. Do you want to just reopen this and I can assign it to you? Does this
Sure.
actually? Does this? Yeah. Okay.
That
Does it not?
one, it describes it pretty well for
Okay.
us.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm happy to take that.
So you're I don't know if you're not. Are you a member of the Kubernetes org?
I have had one other PR, so maybe I'm
Maybe it won't let
grounded
me.
042.
It won't let me assign it if it's not. But what is it? Grounded 042.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
me. Yep.
If it doesn't do it, they'll just do it manually. The bot won't do it unless you're actually a member of the org. And yeah, there it is. I wasn't sure. It's fine. I'll just do it manually.
Okay. Do I need to do something special to be part of that?
You need to put in a request. So to be a member of the Kubernetes org, you let me do that one. You have to put in a request and have just like a list of PRs and issues that you've helped out with, things that you've done to contribute to the org, and then have two org members sponsor you. So again, our prior conversation that we were talking about before we started recording is that you talked with the Lua about the Lua stuff. There are probably a couple open Lua issues. I know Ricardo is working on pulling the Lua directives out. I don't know if he needs help. Maybe he's with testing. So you get a couple PRs under your belt, helping out with that. I'm sure Ricardo and myself would sponsor you for Kubernetes org membership. So that's kind of how it works. And then this, I don't think it's the steering committee. I forget who approves it.
Okay.
But yeah, that's how it generally works. So it's not going to let me assign it. I'll put it as triage accepted, kind feature, and we'll just go from there.
Okay. Sounds good.
And then yeah, we use, just like you did already, we use the Ingress dev for conversations around development. If we have any issues, like the end-to-end tests aren't running, something breaks, that's what we do.
Okay.
I never remember priority. That's a kind feature. And I don't remember how to remove lifecycle rotten, so I'll just do it manually. Let the bot take care of the rest. Okay. Awesome. Well, that's exciting. If you have any issues setting up the kind environment can be cumbersome at times. There's a lot of indirection in our developer setup. So we've got a lot of make calls bash and runs inside Docker. So if you have any issues setting up the development environment, just let us know in the dev channel and we can get somebody to work with you on that.
Okay. Sounds good.
I think right now, let me go look back at my old open issues. Any more questions, John? I was going to look at some of the open issues and see what's up.
No, yeah, I'm excited. Thanks. I'll start working on it as I have time. Hopefully won't take too long, and I'll let everybody know.
Okay. So I'm just reading about the update on this one because this is one of the ones we discussed about a month ago.
John, have you already set up a dev environment?
When I was investigating the issue, I kind of did, and I just got fed up with it, so I ran it in my own Kubernetes cluster instead.
So just do this, install kind, and from your clone of your fork, just do make dev env. There's a documentation about that on the documentation website in the developer's guide. Just
Okay.
make, or look at the make file if there is a dev-en, that's it.
Okay, yeah, I'll give that a shot. Thanks.
Oh, metric's been deprecated. If it's been deprecated, then yeah, we definitely should remove it. Okay, to test. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm glad. I didn't realize that got deprecated. This is also the part of the fun of all of the pieces of the puzzle that we have. I didn't realize that metric got deprecated. Uh-oh. Dad's here. We're in trouble now.
Hello.
We were just looking at pull requests. Probably should be looking at issues and not PRs. I clicked the wrong button. Up to 499. Lovely. Hi, Ricardo. Say hi to John. John's gonna help us out. He's agreed to do all of the Lua work for us.
Oh, really?
No. He's gonna work on the metrics undefined hosts for us, and he is interested in helping with Lua. So we'll see. I told him to go talk to you.
I'm sorry.
Don't say that.
No, I mean, welcome. Sorry, don't take me. Yeah, I mean, we need to grab more people, right, Joe? Right, James, and fool them.
Okay.
Oh, this has been recorded. Sorry.
Hey, you should have known. I told you we were starting a meeting. Is there anything that you wanted to discuss, Ricardo? I know we're having. I told folks that we were working with SIG-Network and SIG Security. We're meeting with some folks later today to discuss some of our plans moving forward, and we'll talk more about those at our maintainer talk in Salt Lake City.
No, I mean, the things that I've been working on, I will probably finish the Lua. So I think we all got it, but I'm removing any Lua inline scripts from NGINX template to their proper file. Even if we have more Lua files, at least it's going to be easier for us to implement the cross-plane thing, because Lua, it kind of messes with all of the lexers from NGINX and so on. So I'm moving them. I probably will be finishing this today. And on the cross-plane side, just explaining really fast, crossplane is not the crossplane, the one for the, using Kubernetes to manage research. It's the crossplane. It's a library from F5 to create NGINX configuration based on structured information. And I hope they do a bunch of escapes and avoid people trying to, inject code. So that's what we are doing. And we have already moved all of the events and the core configuration, but some small one on Lua and other things. And I have removed the whole TCP and UDP proxy, as we have discussed before, as we will be dropping TCP and UDP proxy from NGINX, from Ingress, right? And now,
because we're going to move those to Gateway API.
Yes.
To properly support them.
That's up to you. And, but I mean, we can still support them. I will reconsider that as soon as I finish the major part of the crossplane stuff. And crossplane is so the server. I'm starting now to migrate the major part of template to crossplane, which is server, which is like 600 or 700 lines of template in Go, which is kind of a hell, and I deserve like a vacations after that, because it's really messy. But I am having some help from other folks here in Brazil to do some smaller migrations as well. So it's more like getting people to contribute to the project while and understanding how Ingress NGINX works while we do this migration. Hey, my phone is ringing. Sorry, be back in a minute.
Okay. Well, we're doing that all in hopes of making the Gateway API implementation easier as well. So let's go back to triaging issues while Ricardo is gone. AWS.
I'm back. Sorry.
You're back. Was that all you said? I was gonna triage some issues for about 15 minutes and then go from there.
Okay.
The NLB unhealthy, health checks failed. So it's always a timing issue with the health checks. 111. None of this is surprising. Yeah, you do need the load balancer controller to deploy an NLB. Otherwise, it deploys just a classical load balancer. This is... It's deployed an ALB.
His health check is failing, so I told him to change to TCP backend protocol TCP instruct, because the health check is TCP, not HTTP.
Where did you see that?
In the main description is saying health check is failing. Then he has put a screenshot showing the failed health check of the load balancer.
Yeah, it's where I don't see the health checks. Where did you see that there was defined?
No, in the issue, he's saying he's reporting that his NLB is failing health check. If you go up,
Yeah, the health checks failed.
and then down below he's posted a screenshot of his LB.
I wonder what the default is. Because it says he used Argo and Helm. Because this is the problem,
No,
right?
so we know
Yeah.
for sure that somebody for whom it was working fine uses TCP as a backend protocol because the AWS health check works better with TCP as a
Right here.
backend.
You mean this one right here? Okay, I see it now. AWS load balancer backend protocol.
Right.
Yeah, because with an NLB, so this is the confusing piece. He says it's an NLB, but right here it says this is ALB.
And then that's one of his classes. So down below, he's got because he installed the controller, he's got two classes.
Because he installed the AWS load balancer controller. Okay, that's sorry. Reading's hard. Okay, well, we'll wait to see what he says back with that one.
So I told him change to TCP and try. I'm waiting for
Mhm.
his response.
Yeah. This one's gonna take a few minutes. Unless Ricardo, how good are you with client-side certs?
I was the one that implemented on Ingress NGINX on past.
Is it possible to configure NGINX to pass client-side certificates through 2 NGINX servers and send the original client-side certificate to a destination app?
Sorry, can you go back? I wasn't paying attention. So is it possible to configure NGINX to pass client-side certificates through 2 NGINX servers and send the original certificate to destination app? So the thing that we used to do was, and I think this is how it works, it encodes the certificate as a base 64 as a header, right? So can you take a look into that? Can you scroll down a bit? Yes. So usually what is set, it's just usually there is like that proxy set header. Scroll up. Up. Yeah. So we have this like SSL client cert and it's encoded, and then it's passed to proxy B. What they want is then to pass back to Ingress NGINX again.
I don't know. Let's see what the diagram says. And of course, it's not there.
Let's say configure NGINX to pass client-side certificates through to NGINX servers and send the original client-side certificate to destination man.
Go to the end of the.
The first, if the proxy services start down, then you can insert time.
He's trying to do mutual TLS through the
wait,
Ingress.
but I mean, Ingress supports that, but when you pass the certificate down, like there is no MTLS, like on your other side on the upstream, you need to set like certificate authentication as optional, and then you read from the header.
You gotta wait. Go to the end. He's not even using our controller.
You sure?
Is this just an NGINX? Oh.
Go down.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is just an NGINX question.
Go down. Go down to the end. He's actually posted what image.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, this is okay. This is not our problem. What is this? Okay.
He has cloned and forked the NGINX incorporated source code, and then he has built an image of his own with whatever modifications. And then on top of that, what he's asking about is having 2 redundant controllers. And if the first one cannot pass because the upstream for the first controller is not working, then he wants automatically to have the request forwarded to a second controller instance and all that. And it's not even our code.
Yeah, it's fine. It took a second to realize that. Just reading that, I was like, it's an NGINX problem. Good call out, Long. Doesn't get decompressed before forwarding to backend servers.
Yeah, Ricardo, good you're here. So, Ricardo, as per HTTP standards, a post request with gzip JSON application content type and encoding as gzip, content encoding as gzip. We don't mess with that, right? We don't change anything. It is the application's.
No, we don't.
So application has
We
to do
should.
the right. So it is a consuming target destination application that should do the decompression, right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay. So James, this request, this guy is basically working for a big org where he's using a lot of stuff, and his developer doesn't want to do the decompression.
And we're not gonna do it at the proxy.
We cannot do it. The packet is meant for the consuming destination web server that has to do whatever decompressing and whatever, right?
Yeah. So hold on. Hold on. If you scroll down to the configuration snippet, you pass it, James.
Yeah, I saw
Oh,
that.
your screen is super huge. Hold on.
Oh, is
to
it?
window.
Oh, is it?
No, I can see it now. Yeah. So can you see they have this snippet that says like g-unzip equals to on, right? So they are using by their own the g-unzip module, which, as I can read here, it says that it will blah 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 when content encoding equals to gzip. It will for clients that do not support gzip blah 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 method. It will store data compressed and reduce I/O costs, and then hold on. And it decompresses responses with content encoding gzip. So this model is not built by default.
So he doesn't want. Yeah, all these modules, the gzip module and the g-unzip module, is about responses, not about incoming
requests. Sending payloads to backends. Yeah.
So this guy wants the controller intermediary to do the decompression and just no. I had a session with him. He says his developer doesn't want to do decompression after receiving a gzip encoded, content. That's the whole question.
Then why?
And he's just inquiring if the controller can do it, and I told him exactly that.
No. I'm not aware of the controllers changing anything on the compression side.
Yeah.
So sorry, like we can. I mean, even if you take a look into the content type, they are just like application JSON. They are not passing the yes, it's not passing the gzip anyway on the curl. So
no, they
are on the last comment. Yeah. So it's not something like we don't mess with
we just
compression on Ingress.
Yeah, we just pass the gzip content. We don't actually decompress it. And there's not an NGINX module that would do that, is there? And if there is, we would have to
there is this, but it's not implemented by default, and I don't remember we building that. Maybe we do, but let me see on the
regardless
code.
Of whether there's regardless of whether there's a module or not, the point is the headers are consumed by the receiving destination application, right? So I did a TCP dump with him, and we got proof that the end, it's a Java application that is running. The Java application or whatever, anything else, even we tried plain NGINX, in the TCP dump, it shows that it receives gzip encoded payload.
But this g-unzip is for the response. It's not for the request. So it says here, enables or disable the compression of gzipped responses for clients that lack gzip support. So it means that correct. So it's not that they will send and we will uncompress on our side. It means that when we answer using gzip or when a backend answers using gzip, we will uncompress the response for them, right?
That's correct. That's
Did
correct.
they open?
Yes.
Did they open up 2 separate tickets?
No, he
There's
just
another-
asked this.
No, there's two tickets because there's 11,790, and now there's
No, he
754. He says should decompress. When
so he posted a link to an old issue saying somebody else asked the same question.
this is the same person. This is a separate ticket. 790 and 754 are the same ticket. He's talking about how to do it for an implementation. We're not going to implement this feature. I mean, I can keep this one open if someone wants to, but we're not, as we were talking previously, we're not working on feature requests as core maintainers. We're working on the security and gateway API implementations.
Yes. No new features, please.
Yep. Unless someone wants to help implement those, like John.
But yes, but I mean, even if it's a new feature, I would not add any new feature right now while we try to stabilize whatever we have.
Yeah.
James, if you
okay.
got time, that's 11753.
I'll add this as an action item to go close this one out.
So I had a question that's unrelated to this. If there's other things to do instead, great, ignore me. But for Ricardo,
There's always, I mean, there's 499 issues we never get through. We get through maybe 3 to 5. So go ahead and ask your question, John.
on the cross-plane stuff, does that mean that we like there will no longer be a NGINX template file in the end?
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
Because
today
we're moving it from a template to having crossplane do it for us.
Yes.
Okay. I'll be interested in how we can extend that. Just because today in the docs it talks about like, hey, you want to extend the template, you can copy it, put it here, and we do that. So I'm just interested to see how that would change how that's done.
Okay. So first of all, we didn't think about how to extend. We were thinking more about how to even to remove snippets, right? So we've been discussing about removing snippets because one of the discussions that we had with security folks, it's that like we expose too much of NGINX on Ingress controller when it should be mostly a proxy and not like a fully fledged, application server with all of the things that NGINX exposes. That said, I think we can probably have some sort of, allow users to add some callback or at least admins to add some sort of, callback that like, hey, when you finish configuring, by the way, go ahead and ask for something else, like additional things that you want to add on the structure and do that, right? Or create like or allow admins to set like a third-party configuration to using includes or something like that, like, hey, this is my extensions, this is something where you can add specifics for like locations or for all of the locations or all of the servers. But I didn't stop it to think about that, and it's something that we need to consider, but also consider from the perspective of like how can we not allow random users to add configurations that we don't want, right? So if you are an admin and you have access to the config map on Ingress namespace, great, you can do that, and we can extend based on that. If you are a user, you shouldn't be supposed to do anything other than like use whatever its structured configuration.
Would it be helpful if we had do you have a ticket tracking this work, Ricardo? I can't remember.
Yeah, I think we do, and we have a thread somewhere, but
I found 9960.
Probably. But I to be honest, I was so it's been recorded. So I was so unhappy after that meeting that I have decided to go by myself and start doing the cross-playing. Yes, this one. This is the one.
John, if you
But,
could add a note about extending, folks that do extending and how we can add that option.
Yeah, I
Okay.
will comment on there.
Awesome.
And
Okay.
I'm working on a separate branch, John. So it's not against men, but it's against another one. Just page me on Slack and I can show you how it is so far, what we are looking at, and maybe think on this extension. Okay. And you can tell me
Okay.
what are your use cases on the extensions, and maybe and then we can consider based on that.
Okay, yeah.
Awesome.
Cool.
All right, folks. I need to prep for my next meeting, so I need to end a little early today. So
Yeah, me too. I have a meeting in 10.
Yeah.
But Ricardo, can you comment on 11753?
Which one is 11753? Hold on.
Not capturing origin IP with external name service. Anything with external name service, I always just want to automatically close. The cops are coming for you.
Yeah. I will keep this one open, and I will comment on that after my meeting. Okay.
Okay.
I will leave this on my screen here. Okay. See ya. Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks for joining, John.